Hello and welcome to Small Biz TV. My name's Neil Butler. On Small Biz TV, we spend some time with a small business operator. We learn a bit about their business and some of the things that they've learned while running that small business. And it's a great pleasure to introduce today Kate Schreck from Lightbulb Training Solutions, not too far out of Geelong. G'day, Kate.
Good morning. Is it morning?
It still is morning, yes. But the thing is, people are watching this at various times of the day and night, so they might be wondering why you're saying good morning to them at 10 o'clock at night, but that's okay. That's the joy of recording conversation.
Thanks
for having me. Let's kick off by
me.
understanding a little bit about you, where you grew up, and what you did coming out of school, what your first full-time job was, that sort of thing.
Oh, all of that stuff. I grew up, born and bred Warwick Nabil, Western Victoria. Left school at the end of year 10. So I escaped and took on my first full-time job in a chemist. So I was a pharmacy assistant, I think that was the name. 18 months later, had enough. And I moved into banking and kind of stayed there, got stuck there for close to 17 years.
Wow.
Yeah, which was just normal traditional career path back in the 80s, 90s. So in 2000, I was retrenched from banking and moved into disability employment, which I thoroughly enjoyed. So I had a caseload of people with a range of barriers to employment, and I helped them get a job in workplaces around Bendigo at the time. And then I moved to that position. I finished up in Bendigo, fell in love and moved to Adelaide, took up a position with a similar service in Adelaide for about 4 years, but moved into the marketing side of it. So knocking on employers' doors and saying, hey, can I help you? Kind of, embrace somebody into your business with who needs a little bit of support outside the usual. And that was where I started to see very clearly how much businesses needed some skill support, some skills training. And the area that was lacking, and it was regardless of the industry, was customer service and teamwork. So project ahead. I finished up in, I'd say I was 35. So 16 years ago, I stopped working in disability and spent the last 16 as a contractor, working for unis and TAFEs, doing accredited customer service training and admin skills and all of that. Through that, I got a bit disillusioned and thought, gee, this can be done better, and it's not meeting the need, what the employers want, what the frontline staff particularly need. So I developed my own business called Lightbulb Training Solutions, and here we are.
Oh, there we are indeed. So you're located just outside of Geelong, but is your clientele just around Geelong, or have you got some kind of broader footprint than that?
Yeah, totally. So we have an online resource platform. So, of course, that can go Australia-wide. It can go around the world. But at the moment, I'm focusing very much particularly. Here's the word, during COVID, I'm trying to help out as many Victorian small to medium-sized businesses as I can. So that's where I'm pitching at the moment. But, yes, we have online services. But, in the past, I've travelled around Australia for large franchises and delivered customer service and teamwork training for, multinationals and all sorts of different companies, and occasionally into New Zealand. So we do on-site and online. Yeah.
So was there a particular spark that said, right, today's the day I think I really should start a business, or was it something you kind of evolved into?
No, definitely evolved into. So I did the old gigging, can't speak, gigging for a while. So I remained with one foot very solidly planted. I'd say actually a foot and 4 toes, solidly planted being a contractor, to keep the income going. And over here, and I was working in the accredited space as, an employee, so to speak, as a contractor. But over this side, I was developing Lightbulb Training Solutions as non-accredited training, because that's what wasn't, the skills that we train in isn't offered a lot under the accredited banner. And it was, I didn't think the most efficient way to get the skills into the workplace. And it certainly wasn't embracing what frontline staff needed. So we do non-accredited training. So, yeah, it's been 10 years in the making, and I'd say the last 5 have been full-time. I have a solid business, and in the last 2 years, we started another business as well. So it's all happening.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that one while we're here?
Yeah, it's called Just for Schools, and Just for Schools works with and helps non-teaching staff in schools. Same topics, customer service and teamwork, but we know there's a huge need for professional development programs for the non-teaching staff. So administrators, finance, IT, cleaners, maintenance, all of those people. Yeah.
And it comes back to that whole conversation about what is a customer, isn't it? And, a lot of people would think that they're students or their parents, they're not customers, but the skill set presumably is still the same, and the attitudes need to be the same as well, I expect.
Yeah, and look, in schooling though, we like to position it very much getting clear on that we have internal and external customers. But in schooling also, there's a need for it not to feel like that the customers are allowed to come in and attack the school staff. Yep. Like customers may think they're allowed to in retail or hospitality. In a school staff, it's a different level of service. So we have to give them a different type of skill set. And that is building a bit of respect between internal and external customers. You'd think, okay, that should be across all businesses. But in a school setting, it is a little different because sometimes, you know, it's not like it's an essential service, so to speak. So we want to build a level of respect between the two parties. And that's just a little tweak in what we deliver.
Because I guess also the product's pretty important, obviously, but I guess also it's a much more personal thing, isn't it? And it's a relationship. You know, if you stuff up the relationship with a cafe, then there's another cafe around the corner, but you can't really uproot your kids every time you have a bad customer service experience at the school, I suspect.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. They're long-term customers, and then that's really what you're aiming for. So we change our language in the schools from customers to internal, external, and then we talk about different segments of, you know, is it a parent, a student, stakeholders, community? We look at the bigger picture. With the whole intent is to make sure education support staff feel and know their value. Because sometimes it can feel a little like, well, the teachers, you know, and all of those people have all the skills and all the value, but that teaching doesn't work without the support staff. So that's where we come in. You know all about the teaching thing, don't you?
I was a teacher, and it was one of those things. If you want to know what's going on, talk to the people who work in the office. They're the only ones who had any idea of what was going on around the place. So thinking about running a business, someone walks up to you in a local cafe and go, I know who you are. You're Kate from Lightbulb.
First of all, I fall over.
I'm starting a business. What would be the one piece of advice you'd give me in terms of starting my business? Okay, so are you talking about starting a business? So from the Kate's perspective, yeah, absolutely. I'm going to say reach out for help. So first of all, I'd get curious. Why are you doing it? What are you doing it for? And how much do you know about running your own business? So in any interaction I have with anybody that I've just met, I get curious first. So even though they've asked me a question, I'll come back with 3 or 4, and then I'll say, you know, this is what I think you could do in my humble opinion. But there is so much support out there. So reaching out is one thing, but number 2 is trust your gut, because there's many people want to give you all their help and support, but you also have to assess, where are they coming from? Are they just trying to sell you something that helps their business, or have they really got something that's valuable and helpful for you? So get curious and trust your gut. Because I was going to say on the receiving end, that sounds negative. I've been very fortunate to be on the receiving end of some of that advice, because for those who don't know, Kate and I work reasonably closely together geographically, and we've had a lot of conversations over the journey about some of the crazy ideas I've had. I had this idea maybe we could do some low-cost video for businesses.
There's no such thing as a crazy idea, Neil.
Oh, if there is, I've had most of them. Don't worry about that. So suppose I said to you, you've just won Biz Lotto, here's $25,000, but you must spend it in your business by the end of next week. What do you spend your 25K on?
So easy. I would upgrade my online training platforms, and I would increase the amount of work that my lovely virtual assistant does. She's based up in Queensland. She's amazing, and we are just chomping at the bit to get our services known and out there across Australia, just for schools and Lightbulb Training Solutions. Our online stuff is unashamedly incredibly easy to use, practical, relevant, and time and cost savings. So I know that's like a bit of a pitch, but I trust the feedback I get from my clients. So I want more people out there having access to it.
Yeah, okay.
25 grand, gone.
You say it quickly, and 25 grand is not a lot of money, is it? But you know, you can just do so much with it. So thinking back over the journey that you've been running your businesses, what's the best piece of advice someone's given you in relation to running a business?
Oh, cash is king. That always comes to mind, is that cash flow. Yeah, I know. And I just spent it. So, you know, the first 3 to 5 were tough financially. So, you know, the double piece of advice there is cash is king, therefore do what you love. So if you don't love what you're doing, when the cash flow starts to drop, it's really tough to sustain through those times. So keep your eye on the dollars. If you don't know how to budget, if you don't know how to, forecast and do all that stuff, reach out. Like we said before, get some help. It'll save you stress, and it will save you a lot of headaches and lying on the floor and rolling back and forth going, what have I done? That may be from personal experience.
And this, I guess, where if you're in a situation where you have a partner who is in what I call a real job, and at least there's some cash flow coming into the household, that helps enormously, I would have thought. But I think, often you hear of two partners saying, what, we'll go and buy a franchise, or, what, we'll open a shop, and that's when it becomes really tough, I would have thought, because there's two people living, working in the same household.
That's what we did. My husband and I started Lightbulb Training Solutions, and for the first 3 years, it was fabulous in the sense that we really got to tap into our different skill set. It was way too challenging in the sense of there was no guaranteed income. So we had to change that model after I'd probably say well into the beginning of the third year, we thought, no, this has got to shift for our own marriage. And just in the sense, Steve, my lovely husband, he kind of said, you know what, this isn't my passion. I'm happy for you to carry the flag, so to speak, and push forward with this. But for him, sustaining that kind of work without a guaranteed return on investment was too tough. So we've got the balance now.
Yeah, excellent. Well, we always get towards the end. We get to some fast facts. Are you ready?
I am. Bring it on.
If you had an interstate visitor with you for the day, where would you take them?
Oh, easy. Straight down to Lawn for lunch.
Excellent. Best coffee in your local area?
I'm going to say next door. There's a general store not far down the road from me, and it has magnificent coffee, the Invalid General Store.
I, in fact, had a coffee there. The last time I had a coffee out was at that very store. Best restaurant or pub in the local area?
We recently, again, not a lot of choice at the moment to go anywhere, but the last time we went to a restaurant, we raved about it, and that was Tulip in Packington Street, Geelong West. It was
in Geelong
fabulous.
West. Again, very close to where I live. Favourite holiday destination? You remember holidays? We used to have those ones.
I was just going to say, what is this word holiday you speak of? Can I go anywhere, or am I in local?
Oh, no, anywhere you like. COVID's not happening.
COVID's not happening. I'm on a plane. I'm landing in London, catching the Eurostar, and I'm in Paris.
Very, very nice indeed. What's something you use in your business that you couldn't live without?
Wi-Fi. Too easy. Cannot do business without Wi-Fi now.
Yeah, absolutely. Favorite podcast?
Wow. I don't know.
I must change that question. It's a bit obvious, isn't it? Apart from WowPod, what's your favourite podcast?
I have about 4 on rotation, and for me, podcasting is entertainment at the moment. So I use podcasts to get out of my head and stop thinking about work. So I'm going to recommend The Armchair Expert with Dax Shepherd. I really enjoy that mix of entertainment and education.
Best concert ever?
I'm going to say an outdoor concert at the MCG in the 90s. Controversial. It was Michael Jackson. It was fantastic in the 90s. Move on.
Yep. I just raised that outside off stump and let that one go past. Favourite childhood TV show? Little House on the Prairie. I loved it. Favourite current, and there you are, you're living in a little house on the prairie these days, aren't you? Pretty much. Favourite current TV show? Current one is actually called Dark, and it's on Netflix. Yeah. Okay. And your favourite sports team? Well, I will say, quite honestly, I barrack for the Geelong Cats, but I'm struggling watching any football at the moment. So I keep a left eye on it only. Yes, well, there are a number of supporters of teams down the bottom part of the ladder who are saying, oh, no, it's not the same anymore. The ones at the top are going, no, it's a normal season. Really. No, I've got to say, I loved footy in the 80s. Okay. I just loved the way it was played in the 80s, and I enjoyed it for what it was in the 80s. So maybe I'm just old now and I need to, get over it. Well, before we go, you've got a minute to give us your elevator pitch about. You can have 2 minutes if you want to talk about both of your programs or merge them in together. Off you go. Oh, thank you, Neil. All right, let's talk about Lightbulb Training Solutions. If you're a small to medium business, then what we've got for you is online and on-site
training that is all about face-to-face customer service. It's all about telephone customer service. So that's the programs that we offer, and your first conversation with us is free. So we'll have a chat, see what you've done, see where you want to be, and work out a plan to help you get there. When we talk about Just for Schools at the moment, it's our online program called The Zone, and The Zone is up and running for business managers in schools who want access to all the things that they can use to provide professional development to their non-teaching staff. So customer service and teamwork are our two key topics, but on both businesses, I've got some fabulous leadership trainers that come in and provide leadership training one-on-one or in groups, on-site or online for your teams. So if you're thinking customer service and teamwork, think Just for Schools if you work in a school, and think Lightbulb Training Solutions if you work in a business. And don't forget, if you're corporates, have a chat with us too. We'll design to suit your teams. How's that for a pitch?
Outstanding. Thank you, Kate. And the only thing missing from it is the last thing we need to get from you, and that is, how do people find you? What's the web address? What's the phone number? How would you like people to get in touch with you?
I think the websites are the best and obviously the easiest way to go, because you can download some free resources and get to know a bit about me and my team. So we go to lightbulbtraining.com.au and justforschools.com.au, and it's just with the word for, F-O-R, justforschools.com.au.
Okay, now if you reach over your left shoulder, I think you've got something sitting there that you might want to wave in front of the camera before we go, because what is that you have there?
This is called a book.
Has it got a title?
Pages. It has. It's called, can you see that okay? It's called The A to Z of Service Excellence, and it is literally a chapter for every letter about the things that your frontline staff need to get a remarkable reputation for themselves and your business. Plus, it's full of lots of practical stuff that the managers can bring into the team so they can get some conversations started tomorrow. Download the first chapter for free.
And people can buy the book at lightbulbtrainingsolutions.com.au.
And justforschools.com.au. Works across both businesses.
Okay, well, there she is, Kate Schreck from both Lightbulb Training Solutions and Just for Schools. Thanks for joining us on Small Biz TV.
My pleasure. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you very much, Kate. Well, that's all we have time for today on Small Biz TV. We'll be back again really soon with yet another small business operator. I hope you can join us then. My name's Neil Butler. We'll see you soon.